So welcome everyone. Welcome to Network, masterclass program. So like each week we do this kind of masterclass, and today our topic is brand building in the digital age and digital era, and how to become zero to hero. So it's like quite fascinating story today. Malcolm will be telling. So let's talk about today's agenda. Let's go to my next slide. Today so what we'll be learning, how branding is important for any company, and do fundamentals of branding has changed in the digital era, and what are some important things to keep in mind in this age. And Malcolm will be talking about some global Indian brands, successful brands, and how they build their empire, how they build their brands, why they stand out. So we'll be covering those today. And let's take a couple of minutes to introduce our host, our expert today, Malcolm. So Malcolm is having, more than 2 decades of experience in marketing, branding, advertising, and beyond. And he worked with multiple brands like, as you see, P&G, Hindustan Unilever, Dabur, Marico, and plethora of brands are there. So in current role, what Malcolm provides creative strategy to multiple clients, manages, large content team, and spread head all trade marketing initiatives and innovations for the print business. He's the part of, Times Group, and he continues to create compelling campaigns for clients. And he is also a TEDx speaker. So very, very warm welcome, Malcolm.
Thank you so much, Rumpi. So if I can share my presentation.
Yes, you can. Once again, let me stop sharing. Yes, you can share now.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session. So basically, I think when it comes to theory and, a lot of gyan, anyone can read about it. So what I'm going to try to do is actually share, some interesting cases and learnings that I've gathered, over my journey in marketing, advertising, and branding. So, the topic given to me was brand building in a digital era. So I was just thinking of, has brand building actually changed in the digital era, or should the digital age be any different? So I was actually watching, I don't know how many of you have seen this series called Outlander. So it's a very interesting story where the protagonist, Claire, goes through 200 years back into the past, through a stone. And what I realized from that is that the most essential thing about human beings hasn't changed. So the love, the relationship, the connect which she has and develops with this guy you see in the picture, uh, 200 years back, is possibly stronger than what she had with her husband in the current time. And actually, that is the essence of branding as well, because a brand to me is, a living being. A brand is all about creating a relationship with its consumers. So it's not an inanimate object. Yes, it is manifested through a name, a logo, a campaign, and various associations that you create around it. But at the end of the day, a brand is a living being, and you need to treat it like one. And this has actually got enhanced in the digital age because today uh, the connect between a brand and consumer is highly enhanced and real time. Now, just going back to my childhood days, so I still remember that time we had only 2 channels, which was Doordarshan 1 and Doordarshan 2. So there were very few brands, and most of us didn't have a television at home. So we used to actually sit around, in a neighbor's house to watch the Sunday movies, which used to get screened, I think, around 5:30, 6 p.m. Uh, Versus, cut to today's scenario, which you see in the right-hand side picture here, where each kid has his or her own screen. And this is actually a very important point to note about branding in the digital age. So today you're actually talking one-to-one and not one-to-many. So when it becomes one-to-one, the way your brand communicates has to become extremely personal. The tonality has to, you have to take into account various aspects of a brand. Now, the other reason, why branding in the digital age and especially in today's age has changed is because if you see, the left, which correlates to the earlier picture, there were only a very handful of brands. And if you ask somebody, which is the best suiting brand, the answer would have been Raymond. Or which is the best butter, it would have been Amul. Amul is still possibly the best butter. But what I'm trying to say is that every category had, possibly one dominant brand. And even today, people from my age group would remember most of the advertising and the jingles that happened during our time. And the reason is because there was very less clutter. Like I told you, there were only two channels. So you kind of remembered all the jingles, and advertising actually was almost like entertainment in those days, because television programming itself was so minimal. Whereas if you see the clutter on the right side, this is the world we live in today. There's huge number of clutter in every category. There are thousands of brands. There are millions of websites. So how do you actually stand out? And that is what I'm going to try to touch upon in the class today. So the next question that was asked was, why is branding important for any company? Now again, if you go back to what I mentioned earlier, that brand is a living being and it actually grows up, you have to nurture it. So when you have a baby, the first thing you do is you give the baby a name. You can't keep calling the baby a boy or a girl through its his or her entire life. So once you give the name, and the values and character and personality of that baby starts getting developed in the environment that that baby grows up in, and that is what that person gets to be known as amongst his friend circle, among his schoolmates, and eventually college mates and professional life. But what we've also seen, and most of us, I don't know what is the age group listening in, uh, but most of us kind of, feel that we outgrow our friends from childhood. And that is because, you move to a different city, the kind of engagements and experiences that you have is very different. So similarly, a brand also needs to keep in touch with the evolving environment and the emerging market scenario, competition, and other things which help it grow in any given situation. So the basic thing is that the reason for a company to create or get into branding is, one is to connect with consumers, because first of all, if you don't have a name, there's no way to connect with anybody, to establish a relationship and thereby build loyalty. So this is a very simple triangle which says, once you have a name, once you have a product, then what you tell the consumer is a clear promise. So what am I delivering to the consumer? Why should a consumer buy my brand or product? The second is, once you deliver that promise, so if I say that, I'm going to make your teeth white, or I'm going to ensure that you don't have any mosquitoes at home if you use Mortein or whichever other else repellent, then you have to live up to the promise. And this is where expectations and reality comes in. So if you don't live up to the expectations that you build up in your brand communication, then there's a huge gap. And that is where the element of trust comes in. So the closer the gap between expectation and reality, higher the trust. If there is a larger gap between expectation and reality, then your trust levels are much lower. And when it comes to branding, trust is extremely important and possibly the most important ingredient for any brand. And that is the reason why consumers stick to it. And that is how you develop customer loyalty. And once you have customer, loyal customers, uh, and when customers are loyal, you talk to other customers. Word of mouth is an extremely strong tool, and I think that is again extremely important in a digital age, because earlier used to talk in, personally talk to people. Today, uh, a 15-year-old can post anything on social media, and she might have, a few hundred followers, and the word spreads, and that's how virality gets built. So customer loyalty and customer endorsement or advocacy is extremely important in the digital age. And then this is what builds brand value. So actually, why is there so much talk about brands? So the picture is extremely telling that way. Uh, the most important thing that you can deduce from this picture is, Steve Jobs is no longer with us, but Apple as a brand still is. So the most important point about a brand is that it doesn't belong to anybody, and it outlives their creators. So a brand is something which can go on for infinity as long as the people who are nurturing it uh, are doing a great job, and keep improving on it, and keep innovating and creating. So very simple definition, which I've read many a time, is the product is what a company makes, brand is what the customer buys. And this is so important because you can't tell the customer that, hey, you know what, I have a great product, please buy it. You have to give a reason why the customer needs to buy into your brand. And today, we are in a market where we are riddled with product parity. Anyone comes up with a innovation, it gets copied or replicated in no time. In fact, most of our phones, most of our consumer durables, used to get manufactured in the same places, or factories in China or Taiwan. So what is actually the differentiating factor is the name that you put onto it. I have friends, entrepreneurs who started businesses, like 4 5 years back, and they used to import products from China and put their branding here. And today, they've got investment in the range of $500 million to set up their own manufacturing firm. But what they did right was to build the brand in the right manner, do the right pricing, have the right product mix, and that is what has created their success. So finally, at the end of the day, it's not what you say it is what they say it is. So what is a consumer interpreting of your brand? What do they understand your brand to be? And this is a collection of various experiences that you gather right from the advertising that you see, the product you buy, the experience of the product, the after sale service, if it's a phone or a durable, etc. And today even various services that we enjoy, and what people say about it plays a huge role in brand building. And I think that is a very important aspect, especially in the digital age. So now this is a an interesting quote which was said many years back. If all of Coca-Cola's assets were destroyed overnight, whoever owned the Coca-Cola name could walk into a bank the next day morning and get a loan to rebuild everything. Now this tells you why brand value is so important. So if you actually look at the Coca-Cola balance sheet or the Apple balance sheet, or you will realize that the brand value is almost half or more than half of their total market cap. And that is the strength of a brand. So like I said earlier, Steve Jobs might not be with us today, but Apple is still growing. And the reason it's growing is because of fantastic branding, which started with a fantastic product, but eventually it's the kind of marketing that they do. So have the fundamentals of brand building changed in this digital age? Uh, Actually, it's very difficult when you're doing an online presentation because you can't really interact and ask questions and get responses. But feel free to put your comments in the chat. And Rumpi, maybe you if you find some interesting comments, you can, maybe read them out.
Yes, I'll do.
So has the fundamental of brand building changed in this digital age? So what do you guys think? Any comments?
So sorry to interrupt, sir. Once again, what you're saying.
Sorry?
Deepak, are you saying something?
Sir, yes, sir. Sir, once again, what are you saying? Sir, please, once more.
It's saying that, do you think, can you answer the question that is put on the screen? Do you think have the fundamentals of brand building changed in the digital age?
Yeah, it's to digital like social media platform, and most of the business are offline transferred to offline to online.
So Deepak feels yes, it has changed.
When
Okay.
Dhananjay also said, yes, it has, with social media playing a major role these days.
Okay. So actually, the question is, has the fundamentals of brand building changed? And according to me, no, it hasn't changed. And when I'm saying why it hasn't changed, I'm talking about the fundamentals of brand building. So if you look at the way you create a brand, the core of a brand, the way you communicated, the way you interacted, yes, the speed at which you do things has changed, the way in which you do things has changed, but the fundamentals of how you create a brand, how you build a brand, how you nurture a brand, how you decide what your communication should be, all those fundamentals haven't changed. Now, the important things to note here is, yes, the environment has changed. So today, brand managers are no longer in control of their brand. So earlier possibly you had certain control, but today, because of social media, people give you real-time feedback, and we've seen that happening with the recent Titan campaign a few months back, or any other positive campaign. In fact, currently there's a Tide campaign which is getting a lot of brickbats. So therefore, it has a plus and a minus. If you do a great job, you get accolades. If you do a bad job, then you get brickbats. So it's very important for a brand to be able to manage that. And I think you also need to take into account, before you create a campaign, to weigh the pros and cons and be prepared with both sides of the coin. So be prepared for any reactions from the market, and how is the brand going to react to it? So when you have an extremely strong brand, a strong ethos, and a very strong brand purpose, not all brands have a purpose, that's a totally different topic. Then you will see that brands are able to maneuver the environment and any situation much better. So second is, like I said, instant feedback to whatever the brand does. So therefore, the kind of communication that you do has changed. It's no longer just about releasing a TV commercial and then, sitting back and looking at your sales figures for 3 months, which is what used to happen earlier. So today, how do you translate the messaging through other digital mediums, social media, print, etc.? The other important thing to note is that many brands, especially new age brands, feel that we can just build a brand through digital. But I think that is slowly changing, because every medium has a different role to play. So you need to be present in traditional medium as well, be it for reach when you look at television, or to build impact and credibility when you look at print. The third is that there's no place to hide, and this is so true, be it a brand, be it the leadership of a company. So therefore, transparency in business has really become heightened in the digital age. So you can't say something and not do something. We've recently seen reports of the Nestle health study, which got I don't know how it hit the media. We saw the whole Nissan case that happened a few years back. So a company needs to be extremely conscious about the governance, about not making false claims, about being authentic, because today you can't get away with nonsense. That brings me to the fourth point. There are a lot of brands who got onto this whole uh, you know journey of trying to create purpose and playing lip service to it. So you'll see, I'll show you the Dove case study later, where if you talk about purpose, then you have to walk the talk. You can't make a promise and then not live up to it. So accountability of brands has again increased a lot in the digital age. And finally, you have to keep your consumer engaged, and there's no shortcut when it comes to branding. There has to be constant innovation, creativity, both in terms of product as well as in messaging and engagement. So it's no longer a one-way traffic, it is a two-way traffic. And I think that is the biggest change that has happened in the digital age. So the important things to keep in mind while building a brand in the digital age, I've just put on my simple 5 C's. One is clarity. There is too much clutter out there. There's too much noise. So it's very important for a brand to be extremely clear. There is always a temptation of trying to say too many things. And the best definition I've heard about positioning is it's all about sacrifice. So do the elimination technique, take away all this stuff which you think is not important, and zero down on the one single differentiation that your brand can stand for to stand out of this clutter. Now once you are clear about that, then you need to be consistent with your communication. So you don't, if you're not consistent, then you'll be seen as a schizophrenic brand. Then the consumers is totally confused as to what this brand stands for, what are they talking about. So therefore, consistency is very important. And we've seen that across many brands, be it Amul in India, Apple, Dove, etc. And I'll show you some of the fantastic campaigns that they've done. Third is communicate. You can't build a brand by being silent. And today, especially in such a cluttered environment, communication is very important. And different mediums have different purposes, like I said. So how do you use different mediums to serve different purposes for your brand? Use digital medium to engage, use print medium for impact and creating trust and credibility. Use television for when you have to do an emotional connect or you have to reach large audiences. So when you use all these mediums effectively together, then you get a multiplier effect for your brand's budget. In fact, a recent Google Kantar study said that when you combine print along with the digital campaign, the effectiveness of the campaign goes up 4 times. And we've also had previous studies which says how TV plus print can actually have a huge multiplier effect. So when you use multiple mediums together in different ways, it can actually build a huge impact for your brand. The fourth C is connect. You might communicate, but if you're not able to connect, then the communication of no use. So today in a digital medium is very important for you to connect, and this is also connecting in real time. So you need to have a team or an agency which is constantly listening to chats, picking up on positive chats, picking out on negative chats, responding and managing the entire ecosystem. And finally, like I said earlier, trust and credibility. There's no other ingredient stronger than that. And once your brand builds trust, which is meeting expectation in reality and closing the gap between the two, then the result that you will have for your brand is customer loyalty, which will then lead to brand value. So what I'm going to quickly share is some interesting films that I picked up. Let's look at some case studies. So I'll also get a break from talking. So the first one is, Apple. Now, a lot of people might think that, Apple is doing so well because it has great products and, great range and stuff. Yes, it does have great products. It started off with a fantastic product and really differentiated versus IBM. But what Apple as a brand is actually about imagination, design, and innovation. So when every consumer is who holds an Apple phone or works on a Apple Mac, and that's the reason why most creative guys, in the advertising industry work on Macs. You feel that you're creative, there's imagination, and that's the brand power, and you feel pride when you own an Apple. So in fact, in the late 80s and 90s, they actually got a marketing executive, John Scully from Pepsi, who was the one who increased the Apple budget from $15 million to $100 million and turned Apple into the biggest single computer company in the world. So it was actually a huge marketing exercise and not just a product. So the point is that you might have a great product, but if you're not able to market it well, if you're not able to build a brand well, then the great product will just lie in your warehouse. So what Scully said is people talk about technology, but Apple was a marketing company. So essentially, what I'm saying is that people's connections with brands actually transcends commerce. And that goes back to my earlier point where I said that it's all about relationship. How are you able to establish your relationship with your consumer is what difference between success and failure. So here are some commercials. These are the recent couple of ones from Apple, because I'm sure all of you have seen the 1984 commercial and after that. But just look at the kind of tonality, the smartness, the creativity, even in their advertising, which reflects the kind of products that they have.
Felix?
Name,
Felix.
date of birth,
November 5th, 1986.
Tracking current location.
Can I have a taste of your ice cream?
Here's what you
Can
spent
I
last
lick the
month.
crumbs from your table? Can I interfere in your crisis? Can you hear those people behind
This will
me?
help with the itching.
Can I have a taste of your ice cream? Can I lick the crumbs from your table? No, mind your own business. Why don't you mind your own business? Why don't you mind your own business?
What a fantastic ad. That's Apple advertising for you. This is another great commercial, recent one from Apple.
Searching, I've spent a lifetime, darling, searching, looking for someone like you. Dreaming, in all my dreams, I dream that someday I'd find someone just like you.
So what do you guys think of those fantastic ads? And I think Apple has consistently done fantastic advertising. The next one is Amul. We've all seen and grown up, whatever age you are in, would have grown up seeing these fantastic Amul ads which come every week. It's actually in the Guinness Book for the longest running campaign. It's been running for more than 40 years. It's a company which has the lowest advertising budget to turnover amongst all FMCG companies. And one interesting trivia is Amul actually has not more than 65 to 70 hoardings across the country. But they have these hoardings in the same place for decades. In fact, they are almost landmarks in some cities. And that is the reason why everyone would have noticed the Amul hoarding. Now, this again is consistency. One, consistency in terms of communication, using the Amul girl, being topical every week, playing on a interesting topic. And secondly, the consistency in usage of media. So be it hoardings, be it print, they've used the same kind of media week after week. And that is why it's one of the few campaigns or brand campaigns that people actually look forward to every week. So I'm going to show you 2 or 3 Amul commercials. So you'll see how the essence, the ethos, the personality hasn't changed over the years. So this one is actually from 2011. There were older ones, but since we don't have too much time, I thought I'll respect.
मेरो गाम काठा पाड़े जा दूध की नदियां बहे जा कोयल टोको गाए मारे घर अंगना ना भूलो ना रे मारे घर अंगना ना भूलो ना मारे काम की मक्खन रोटी लाए खुशियां छोटी छोटी खुश रह तेरा बेटा बेटी जैसे चमके हीरा मोती तेरे आंचल में तेरे चेहरे की ये लाली लाए मारे मन उजाली आंगन आंगन है खुशहाली मारे घर झांझर लक्ष्मी के बाजे मारे घर झांझर लक्ष्मी के बाजे
So Amul, in fact, the cooperative completes 75 years this year. Fantastic brand, which hasn't changed over the years.
जरा सी हंसी दुलार जरा सा
The taste of India. जरा सी हंसी दुलार जरा सा Amul, the taste of India.
हो जरा सी अनबन प्यार जरा सा
Taste of India.
बना दे हर पल को जैसे हर पल मस्ती का यही तो अमूल है स्वाद इंडिया का यही तो अमूल है हर पल मस्ती का यही तो अमूल है स्वाद इंडिया का यही तो अमूल है
The taste of India. The taste of India. The taste of India. The taste of India.
So the Taste of India tagline hasn't changed in how many years? I'll skip this one. So Dove is another brand, which is, I think, one of the most fantastic global brands that has been so consistent and constantly evolved and kept with the times. And in fact, even when you speak to people in Unilever, they look up to this brand within their system. It has always stood for beauty. It moved from a product benefit of 1/4 moisturizing cream to real beauty and actually challenged the definition of beauty. They won several awards in the last few years for breaking stereotypes and managed to stay relevant in the current context of and you'll see the last one I'm showing you which they've done in the context of the pandemic. So this one is actually a very old one. I think it's 1965 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So this was a more product oriented, but you'll see the feel and how the whole
During
stuff
your
has evolved over
lifetime,
period of
you
time.
wash your face over 25,000 times, 25,000 exposures to the drying effects of soap. Yes, soap. All soap can dry your skin. That's why you should switch from soap to Dove. Dove is completely different from soap. Only Dove is 1/4 cleansing cream. Dove creams your skin while you wash. Prove it to yourself. Wash one side of your face with soap. Wash the other side with Dove. Now rinse, pat dry, and see the difference. Notice how dry the soap side feels.
But there's no dry feeling with Dove. My skin feels so soft. Soap can dry your skin, not Dove. Dove creams your skin while you wash.
Choose white Dove or new lightly scented pink Dove.
So moving to a more recent one with
ये
challenges.
सिर्फ हमारी नहीं, देश की करोड़ों लड़कियों की कहानी है।
मैं है किस रेडी।
चलो भी चलो, जल्दी करो। ऐ की दीदी, साड़ी पहनाने की बात हुई थी ना, फिर वजन दिखाई दे रहा है।
अब इसमें भी दिखाई दे रहा है।
हुन तुसी जल्दी करो, लड़के वाले आ गए ने।
इससे ढक लो बेटा, जल्दी आ जा। मैं आजा बेटा।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आजा नूर, आजा।
फोटो में तो रंग साफ लग रहा था ना?
बेटा आप दोनों चाहो तो बाहर चाय पी लो। जा नूर।
सीढ़ी लगाकर बात करना पड़ेगा आपकी राजेश्वरी को हमारे लड़के से।
नो बट जोक्स अपार्ट, अपने बाल स्ट्रेट करा लेना, भाई को नूडल्स नहीं पसंद।
ये दाग
कब तक चलेगी खूबसूरती की ये बदसूरत परख? आखिर कितनी खूबसूरती काफी है? डव, खामियां नहीं, खूबियां देखिए।
So Dove has actually made a huge difference to changing the definition of beauty. And in fact, in their campaigns, they've stopped photoshopping and stuff, and they use real people. Now, this is something which recently won the Cannes Lions. Again, a salute to the doctors who've been working tirelessly in the pandemic. Such fantastic work. But if you see, they've always been at the core of beauty, core of real beauty for so many years. This is a very interesting new age brand, which I thought I'll share with you. You know, how he built it with absolutely no budget. In fact, you know, this commercial which he created actually costed him some $4,000, but it really went viral. I'm sure most of you have heard of this brand. Now, this is, you know, what you can do in the digital age.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
So today consumers actually like, funky, irreverent kind of advertising as well. So the last case study I'm going to share with you, one of my most favorite, it wins awards consistently. And I think this is a brand which is a challenger to McDonald's. It's done fantastic work in terms of marketing, advertising, very bold, irreverent, highly engaging. And you'll see how, because of the kind of brand they are and the communication and engagement they do, consumers actually become their advocates. So this is a really fantastic and very different kind of a promotion that they ran 2 years back.
E deixa eu ver. Eita, mano. Umas ideias, velho. Olha, caralho, mano.
Burger King is famous for its flame-grilled burgers. Unlike our competitor, who fries their burgers. But in Brazil, their media budget is 4 times bigger than ours. Their ads are pretty much everywhere. So, we did the only logical thing. We burned them. I know what you're thinking. Did we track down every piece of McDonald's communication, create a dynamic database of these ads, develop an AR feature on our own app that recognizes those ads, then encourage people to point their phones at them and burn them down, turning every McDonald's ad into a Burger King ad? Yes. Yes, we did. Every single ad. Outdoor ads? Burned. Social media posts? Burned. Google image searches? Burned. Indoor signage, trays, coupons? Burned, burned, burns. And the best part, the feature connected users to the e-payment page, generating free Whoppers. It spread like, well, fire.
If you hold it up to any competitor's ad, it'll burn it and then leave you with a coupon.
Isso é muito incrível. Caralho.
With almost 500,000 ads burned, our app went straight to the top in Brazil, and so did sales. The more they invested, the more we burned. Ah, the smell of victory. With fire and a little help from technology, we turned common outdoor ads no one wants to see into delicious flame-grilled Whoppers you could taste.
That was too cool, wasn't it? And even the promotion that they ran had the whole flame grill benefit built in. Burn the ad. Now this is another crazy promotion. So most of what they do actually takes on McDonald's head on.
Burger King wants you to come here. Yes to McDonald's.
Burger King is trolling its fast food rival
with a promotion available through the Burger King mobile app.
Yeah, but there is a small catch.
So I saw this Burger King commercial where you could get a Whopper for a penny.
only if you open the app while you're at McDonald's.
That doesn't even make sense. You have to go to McDonald's for a Whopper?
Whopper? Use Burger King's BK app, then be within 600 feet of a McDonald's restaurant.
Burger King geofenced over 14,000
McDonald's restaurants in the U.S.
Unbelievable.
So I've parked my news car about 100 feet from a McDonald's.
I'm at McDonald's getting a coupon for Burger King. I almost feel like I'm stealing.
Let's go for the unlock.
Yes!
You unlocked the Whopper detour.
This is a really cool promo, guys. How fun is this?
That's crazy.
Nice.
That's so horrible.
That's funny.
This is an amazing use of technology to get consumers out of a rival store and into your own store.
Can you do a Whopper Jr.?
They probably could make that. It wouldn't be as good as Burger King would, to be honest with you.
Okay, where's the Burger King?
Like 4 blocks to your left.
Okay, so that's actually getting the McDonald's guy to give you directions to Burger King. So Burger King, the reason I put it in here was to show you that while the fundamentals of branding doesn't change, how do you use technology to your advantage and actually create real-time engagement with your consumers? And Burger King also does ads in other mediums. This is an award-winning print campaign which they did. Again, bringing out the whole flame grill benefit alive, showing their stores burning. Again, so really fantastic brand, bold, irreverent when it comes to advertising. Yeah, so that brings me to the end. Just to recap the 5 C's: clarity, consistency, communicate, 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 connect, and be credible in whatever you do. Thank you. And branding is all about creating love with your consumers. So I think that's the end of this.
Yes, thank you, Malcolm. Like, it's a very insightful and interesting session, you know. So let me share my screen. Let me present, and let me quickly talk about as an network what we are doing. 1 second. So thank you, Malcolm, for the session. You know, let's talk about in Antwerp what we are doing. We are an experiential learning movement powered by industry leaders, like Malcolm. So we have philosophies. First philosophy, if we can tell, is we believe in learning from practicing professionals like Malcolm. We bought professionals from different sectors across whole world, and they came and gave different experiential content they learned from their job. So our first philosophy is learning from practicing professionals. Second one is learning by doing, focusing on practical hands-on knowledge rather than theoretical stuff. So, and the third thing is learning through live immersive classes. We believe in live classes, the learning will be more effective. So believing in this philosophy, what we did is we introduced master's program in digital marketing, which is a 16 weeks program. And we have experts from different sectors, from different companies. You can see like Google, Amazon, Netflix. So they are coming and sharing their thoughts, and those sessions will be more like in practical, real life experience. So I can see few of our cohort students from cohort group is also here. So what they did, for last couple of weeks, they worked on Google ads, Facebook ads. They keep their hands dirty on different projects, so everything will be very real time, real life, not like a GAN theoretical thing. So if you guys are interested in digital marketing master's program, so I will be sharing the link. You can check and we'll connect with you. And some discounts are also going on. So please do check. I think I think the time is 12:22. Malcolm, can you take some questions because we have many questions in chat box.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So Malcolm, first question I'm getting is Roshan. Roshan is saying social media is very cluttered, right? So how can brand pass out through this clutter?
Yeah, so like I said, it's very important for you to be consistent in what you do. So when you do consistent messaging, that over a period of time, helps you stand out in the clutter. And second is to do very interesting and clutter breaking work, like what you saw in Burger King. Of course, that's like world-class work. But doing stuff that will, help you stand out. Second is rather than spreading your budgets very thin across multiple mediums, concentrate your budgets and just focus on 2 or 3 key social media channels, and actually try to amplify that or build on it by using some other mediums. So you will get that cross medium advantage and that multiplier effect.
Right. Okay, let's take another question. Ujjwal Rena is asking, social media has made it easy to personify brands. So if the brands want to reposition themselves, is it easy to will be becoming more difficult for them?
Can you just repeat that? Is social media making it difficult for brands to position themselves?
Yeah, to reposition. Yeah, is it difficult for the brand?
Yeah, see, it's very difficult, to build a brand on social media. I think you need to build your brand in traditional media and then carry it on in social media, because see, consumers know that if a brand is built only on digital, then establishing the trust factor takes a much longer time. So it's actually a catch-22. So it's a little more difficult because social media, you're also open to constant criticism, engagement. So most of the time, your team would be engaged in responding and tackling various questions and criticisms. So you need to play a balance of trying to position your brand in the real world and then continue that in digital.
All right. So let's quickly launch on poll, guys, because we created interesting poll. We don't want to lose it. Yes, can you see the poll?
Yes.
Yes. Meanwhile, Malcolm, another questions, Naomi asked, she asked, how are brands built in the world of fashion where the dynamics of product or trends are what drives movement?
How are brands built in the world of fashion?
Where the dynamics of product or trends are what drives movement.
Yeah, so I think, if you look at what Tanishq has done, it's fantastic, because I think it's one of the few jewelry brands who realize that the kind of jewelry that different regions in the country use for weddings is very different. So how do you actually, change the stock that you have in stores in different parts of the country is very different. So what you get in South is different from what you get in West versus what you get in East. So I think similarly in fashion, I think digital will help you understand trends. The brand can start engaging with consumers, in fact, doing interesting programs to get them to start sharing their experiences, their views, getting a few influencers on board, talking about evolving trends, looking at what's happening internationally. And I think for a new brand in the fashion space, if you, I think, get into involving the consumer right in the beginning, then you'll have a brand which is, totally engaged, and you'll also have a pulse on what the fashion and trends are. Because today, a lot of consumers have started aping what's happening in the West because of the kind of content that we have access to, be it OTT or social media, Instagram, etc. So I think that's one way to kind of stay ahead.
All right. So another question, we got is it's a very interesting question. How small businesses, small startups can start with branding? So this will be the tip for us also.
So this is this is a very it's a good question and a very difficult one to answer. And in fact, that's why in times, about 15 years back, we had launched Brand Capital, which is a investment arm where we do, equity for advertising. And the reason that we looked at it is because a lot of businesses face this conundrum of, should I build my business first or my brand first? And because both are important. And if you don't build your business, how do you fund your brand? So I think what you need to start doing is, from day one, try to allocate a small percentage of your overall operating expenses towards marketing and brand building. Because without branding, it gets very difficult for you to grow your business. But you can't also, spend a lot on marketing budget, which is disproportionate to the business that you're running. So I think it's a matter of doing both. And I think in that way, the digital medium actually helps today because you're able to do a lot of stuff with low budgets. And then I think once you reach a kind of a certain level, then you can progress to using a more traditional media.
Right. So last question, I think it's we are crossing 1 hour timeline. Dhananjay is asking, Malcolm, how is the adoption from other brands using tech like Burger King did?
Sorry, what's the question? How is the
adoption from other brands using tech like Burger King did?
See, I think Burger King is, if you ask me, is top of the ladder when it comes to adoption of tech. I think Indian brands are still not doing that kind of stuff on tech. So today, if you look at most of the Indian brands, it's just about using technology to either put out advertising or do some small kind of engagement. So I think we have a long way to go when it comes to that. A couple of interesting examples that come to mind when Swiggy, I think few months back, had done this 60% offer. They had a very interesting exchange on social media where the marketing guy said, oops, I didn't get my CFO's approval and I don't think he would have approved this kind of a promotion. Then the CFO replied, then the CEO jumped in. So it became a nice, viral conversation on social media, which obviously was pre-planned, but it came out as being very spontaneous. So I think how you use digital and social media to your advantage and keeping the brand essence and ethos in mind is very important.
Right. So Malcolm, if you don't mind, can I take another question, last question? Mainka is asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's asking how to use Instagram to make followers as a brand and make connections with people and engage with them forever.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not a
Gen Z type of question.
I'm not a digital marketing expert, so I think you should join one of Antwork's digital courses, which Rumpi just spoke about.
Yeah.
So even I'm struggling to increase my Instagram follower base.
All right. I think yes.
Having this I'm sorry, I'm just having a bad throat today. So Rumpi, you please take it over. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, I think thank you, Malcolm. I think it's 12:31, and yeah, as Malcolm said, guys, if you want to know this kind of answer this kind of questions, you have to join our digital marketing masters program. And if you want to join, so link is there in the chat box. You can click the link and you'll get some kind of discount. So I think that's that. I think we are done with the session. So Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you so much for the session. Thanks a lot. It's an honor to be here in the platform. Thank you.
Thank you so much
guys.
for having me over. Thanks, Sudhanshu. Thanks, Rumpi.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you
Thanks,
so much.
everyone, for attending.
Thanks everybody who joined. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Bye.